Welcome, guys, to another episode of Consciously Curious, where we deep dive with those that are thriving in their passion. On tonight's episode, we have Miss Gianna Carpanzano, owner of Rebel Lash and Brow Studio. We're in Lakeview. So, first of all, Gianna, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can you just start off, like, how long have you been in the beauty industry, the esthetician industry? Like, how would you label it?
The beauty industry.
Okay.
I've been in the industry for probably like 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I first started out doing makeup and working with photographers and stuff like that. And then I decided to go to school for aesthetics just to kind of learn a little bit more about makeup and really get into that. And then once I did that, I realized I didn't really like makeup very much.
Okay.
And then I kind of took a break and I worked in the restaurant industry, service industry, and did that. And then I finally found lashes and fell in love with that. So decided to really pursue that. And I got to the point where I was so busy with clients, I had to decide if I was going to really focus on lashes or stay in the service industry. And I went with lashes.
Oh, so you were doing both for a little bit?
I was doing both.
Okay. Okay. So can you lay down the steps to becoming like focused on lashes? Are there special certificates and like steps we got to take?
Yeah. So with lashes in the state of Illinois, you have to be a licensed esthetician. A lot of schools though don't teach lashes specifically. So after you get your license, you can take certification courses, and they're usually like 1 or 2 day courses that you take.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Oh, wait, that's it? Mm-hmm. Did you feel ready after 1 or 2 days?
So I actually didn't start with a course. I taught myself.
Oh. But is that like common for most?
It's not common. I feel like people try to do it, and I don't know, it's like 50-50. For me, I'm one of those people though that I like to learn things myself. I did lots and lots of research for like months and read, and I found like Instagram pages that would post like informational things, and I like before I even started doing them. So I just knew that I was that type of person. I'm very thorough. Yeah. So I did that.
So at that time, if they're still, I'm sure they are relevant, like who were some of the role models that you were looking up to?
The biggest ones were Borboleta.
Are these handles? Are these Instagram handles?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's Borboleta, Lash Makers, and Lashbox LA were like the 3 really big ones that I would follow, and they would post a ton of informational stuff. And then there was also Lash Affair by JP. Okay. That was a really good one.
Okay. And after you got your certificate, what next? What after that?
So I got my certificate, and then for me personally, I focused on like marketing and just trying to build my clientele so that I could eventually move into a space.
Yeah. So was this in another studio or on your own?
I started working from home.
Reminds me of Dang. Dang, no. Good for you. Is that kosher? Is that completely like as long as you're certified?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah, we did it and we're here, so okay. We made it work. Yeah.
And so back then, what led to your success, I guess? Like how did you obtain clients at that early infancy?
I think I focused on getting good pictures and posting on Instagram. Okay. And that's really what got my clientele in. Like that was pretty much the only thing. I had just moved to the city, so I didn't know a ton of people, so I had to rely solely on social media.
Where are you from?
The burbs, Carpentersville.
Oh, south.
Way out west.
West, Carpentersville. I'm from northwest, I guess, Palatine.
Oh yeah, okay, so it's like 20 minutes west of there.
Oh, okay. Okay, like Algonquin. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yep. Okay, cool.
Spring Hill Mall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over my head. Okay. I'm thinking like Woodfield, like that's.
Yeah. Okay, Woodfield.
Yeah. Okay. And how long were you in? Is this your parents' house or like your house, or how long were you there for? You know.
That I was doing lashes in.
At home, yeah.
Oh, that was my house.
Yeah. For how long?
That was 2 years. So I did that for 2 years.
And I'm just trying to, like, at what point did you feel ready to move out?
It got to the point where I was getting so many clients. I was pretty much booked almost all day. I would do like 5 days a week, and then it was like I would work on my off days, and then I just had so many people coming in and out of my house. I was like,
I don't want all these strangers in my home.
And then it was like I couldn't separate work from home, and it was just like people knew I was at home, so they'd be like, "Can I come at like 6 a.m. or 11 o'clock at night?" And I would take them because you're home anyway.
You would take them
and
anyway.
I would take them.
Would you be in like in your pajamas? Be like,
yeah.
Oh.
I was like, listen.
You want some coffee? I just made some coffee.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah. So.
What do you think led to that discipline? Growing up.
Definitely watching my dad work a lot. I think that was instilled in me in like a very young age, just seeing him like, you got to get stuff done. You have to work, you got to take care of your responsibilities. It was just my dad taking care of my sister and I. So
yeah. Before makeup, did you have a different goal for yourself or like a different path, or was it always makeup?
No. It started when I was really young, and I loved to draw. And I always felt like there was this stigma around becoming an artist, a professional artist, and how you couldn't really make money being a painter. So I was like, I need to find a way to be artistic but also make money. So I'm like, let's try makeup, basically coloring on people's faces.
Okay.
So I tried that, and yeah.
What was the turnoff? Because I've never interviewed a makeup artist before. So what was, just quickly, like pros and cons of in your experience?
It was hard for me to build clientele, for one. I wasn't social media savvy as far as that. Taking photos was difficult for me. I think the hardest part personally was so many different like faces, skin types. You get, I hate to say this, but you get a lot of people that want like a Kim Kardashian look, or and it's like it's sort of unrealistic, their expectations. So for me, it was hard for me to tell them like, we can't do that on you. You don't have the foundation for that.
So it was hard to please people. Okay. Well, does that depend on the area that you were working in then?
So I got clients from all over.
Oh, really?
So I didn't think it was that. Yeah. I just think people that really need makeup or really want makeup
have these unrealistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because that was like around the YouTube era when that started to blow up, and all the like young people were on YouTube and doing like the tutorials and stuff. So they weren't the ones that were like seeking out makeup artists or that had money. It was like a lot of older clients, and like, when you get older, your skin's different, and people want like just crazy stuff. And I was just like,
Do you not see that with lashes and brows?
No, so with lashes and brows, it's a lot different. Brows can be a bit difficult because people do come in and they've either like over tweezed, and so it's kind of hard to salvage sometimes. But with lashes, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just something that I love and I like connected with, and so it's easy for me, but I can fix like almost anyone's lashes. So
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Yeah.
Like it almost looks like surgery. Is it kind of like that? Is it?
Yeah, that's funny that you say that, because almost every day I'm like, I could have been a surgeon with this precision. So yeah, it's very, very detail oriented.
Okay. So walk me through kind of the day to day. Like how many clients do you hope to fill on a day to day basis, and is it still challenging on a day to day basis?
So day to day, I try to do at least 5 to 7 clients. It depends on the service. Some take about an hour, some take up to 3 hours.
Wow.
So those 3-hour appointments, I try to only do one of. That's like the fullest, most dramatic look you can get. I try to do one of those.
And what would that involve? Like the whole shebang, or like what are we talking for 3 hours, or just just
oh
eyelashes?
No, so it's just eyelashes for 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty intense. So yeah, I try to just do one. I've gotten two, like on Saturdays, usually people will book me 2 of those, and I'm like, okay, this is, yeah. But anywhere from like 8 to 10 hours I can handle.
Sure.
And then daily challenges. As far as lashes, nothing crazy. Most of my clients come in for fill, so they're repeat clients. So I've dealt with them. I know their lashes.
That's crazy. Everyone like knows, like, let's say you're a vet, you know them by their pet, and you can now identify people by their lashes. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Like for in the medic field, like you can identify people by their diagnoses, like, oh, hey, diabetic seizures or diabetic hypertension. So it's interesting.
Yep.
So what are these clients doing for 3 hours? Because if they're like, they can't be on their phone.
They can't be on their phone.
If I was at a tattoo place, like I'd be scrolling the phone or doing something. Are you chit-chatting for 3 hours?
We are chit-chatters. So I have a lot of clients. They come in and they ask me, they're like, oh, this is so relaxing. Like, do other clients fall asleep? I'm like, yeah, they do.
Oh.
And they're like, yeah, oh my God, I'm going to fall asleep. And then we end up talking the entire time. Like, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Do you feel empty by the end of your 10-hour day? Like, I just want to curl up in a ball at home and chill out?
Sometimes, yes, like physically, but I don't know, talking to people.
You like it.
No, I like
Good
talking
for you.
to people. Yeah, I like to talk. So I picked a great career.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can't even imagine. So you're probably playing like life coach at times.
Oh yeah, lots of life coach therapy, but I also, a lot of my clients have been coming for like 2 years now, so they know me too. So it's also like therapy for myself.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's,
huh. Damn. Who else? You mentioned this before we started recording, but how many people do you have on your team?
Right now I have 2 people on my team.
2 people. What's ideal?
Well, that
depends. At this point in your business.
Yeah, I think 2 is okay for right now.
Okay. And how do you go about choosing these 2, or just anyone? Perspectives.
So I sort of choose people based off of how I feel, like their personality wise.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is a job where you really need to build rapport with people.
Yes.
I feel like people come in and they want a good experience. If you make them feel good, they'll come back.
Yes.
I feel like that's
it's
why.
It's not just the lashes.
No, but I also need someone that's teachable. So when I hire people, I don't necessarily look at experience with lashes. Like, that's nice. But there are pros and cons to that. I feel like there are people that have experience with lashes, but they have bad habits that they have been practicing for, 2 years. And then I kind of have to retrain them. It's almost harder to do that than to train someone from scratch.
Now, I've noticed this with most of my, every one of my guests. It's like, I look for that warmth. I look for their personality. Are they a selfless, generous, kind, compassionate person? And I can teach all the technical skills after. Now, all those people that have built up bad habits, are they fucked? Are they just doomed? Are they just like, no one's going to, unhireable? Like, it's like, what, or do you, after the interview, be like, you got to work on this. Like, this is why you didn't make the cut, or sometimes you don't have the heart to tell someone that. I don't know. So like, I'm just wondering, what do those people do?
Well, personally, I guess maybe I don't have a heart because I tell them.
Good for you.
So I feel like feedback is so important.
Yeah.
And if you hate me for the rest of your life because I gave you feedback, oh well, like hopefully you can take that feedback and you can use it as constructive criticism and better yourself. I tell all of any of my potential hires that what I do is like a 1-month trial with them.
Okay.
So I tell them, like, you come in, I will train you for a day. You'll work on a model, do what I say basically.
Right.
And then, we'll see how you perform as time goes on. We'll provide you with more models if need be. We'll provide you with additional training if need be. But I just need to see progress. I need to see progress and open-mindedness. So if you have been doing lashes a certain way for 2 years, like, that's fine. But if you come in and you're eager to learn and you're open-minded and teachable, then I can work with that.
Yeah.
So I feel like the only way someone's fucked is if they think that they know everything and don't want to learn. And I've interacted with people like that, and I feel like it's all about, you know, how much you are willing to learn
Learn or unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And where'd you get that mindset? Was that kind of, you grew up with it, or at some point you had to realize like, hey, I need to be learnable or coachable, teachable?
I think that I actually learned that in one of my lash classes.
Oh, wow.
So one of my instructors just sort of brought it to my attention, because I was honestly always like kind of a know-it-all, and I love to learn things, but I never like to be wrong. And so I was like, I'm a perfectionist, you know.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me, and it was something that I was like, you know what, it takes some like humility to accept that you don't know everything, and that's the only way.
Did something happen that pointed that out, like like when you realize, oh, I'm not right? Or was it simply someone telling you, your class, you're not always going to be right? Because sometimes that doesn't sit with us.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand until it actually happens to you.
Honestly,
or was it just like, you know, when you, just like we were talking about this earlier about like simply podcasting, it's always a learning process. We're not, you know, and we're always growing and learning, and that in and of itself is humiliating.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a combination of both. I think I actually had a boyfriend tell me that I wasn't right all the time. It was,
shut up, yes I am.
yes. And I was like, I was like, honestly, 90% of the time, but there were a few times where I wasn't. I was like, all right, I need to calm down, because I'm not right all the time. And then, you know, it is, I'm all about like, everything is a learning experience, you know, an experience. And so I'm like, I really need to, that's something that I needed to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I heard it in the class, and it wasn't anything that I did specifically, but our teacher was like kind of talking to us about students that she had that would come in, and she would try to explain things to you, and they were just like so close-minded. And
right.
I was like, you know, I don't want to be like that. I want to learn. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And where did you learn, I guess, like business etiquette? Like, where you seem like you want to create a very positive, immersive, bright experience for your guests. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I guess when I started, and I decided I want this to be a business, I just thought about, what do I want when I go into someone else's business? What kind of experience do I want to have? What's going to keep people coming back in?
Mm-hmm.
And I just really had to think about that and kind of relay that onto what I was doing with my clients.
Yeah. So can you share some of the tactics that you guys use?
So I make sure that I use people's names. That was actually in a book that I read called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, okay.
I think. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that always stuck with me. Using people's names, just providing a great service, you know, ask them if they want water, or sometimes you have wine or champagne. Then
I was mind blown when like barbershops would have like beer and
yeah.
whatnot. I was like, you guys have beer here?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm paying $40. I'm just like,
it's a party. Yeah,
it is a
party.
So people come do people come to hang out?
Yeah, we have people come to hang out. On Saturdays, we were doing like a Saturday mimosa thing for a while. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then a lot of my clients know each other, so they'll come in, you know, between appointments and see each other, and they'll hang out and they'll take pictures, and so they love that. They love the wine mostly. That's been enough so far. But then another big thing for me is educating my clients. Yeah. I think that's been huge. I feel like I never want to go to, you know, a nail salon or get my lashes done or any kind of beauty service and feel like I'm being tricked or manipulated in any kind of way. So a big thing that I noticed with lashes is that people would come in, they wouldn't be happy with the work that they have. So I'd always ask them, what were you unhappy with? So we can make sure we don't repeat that. And not only that, it's kind of hard to explain to them, like, hey, the last person that did your lashes, like, didn't do a good job.
Oh.
Without it sounding like, oh, don't go to her anymore, like, come to me now,
Right,
so I never want
right.
to sound like that.
You don't want to shit talk anyone. I get it.
Exactly.
I get it.
And like, that's not the point. Like, the point is like, hey, this is, what they did that was wrong. This is like, it can cause damage, or it can cause fallout, or just whatever issues they were having. And I would just try to explain to them and educate them, so they felt like, oh, now I understand what's going on and why I didn't like what I was getting.
What's the worst guest that I keep calling them guests because one of the bartenders treats all of his customers as guests, so I keep calling them guests. Situation that has come in, like, is there such a thing as like brows that get infected?
So I haven't had any infected
or, like,
brows.
more prone to styes, or I don't know, like things like that.
Yeah. I guess one of the worst cases that I've had was a client that came in, and she had a severe allergic reaction. So she had come in and she had explained to me that she'd gone to places before, had allergic reactions, and experienced like swelling. You'll experience like discharge.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty intense. And it lasts like 24 to 48 hours or so. So it can be pretty crazy. And so she wanted to try them again with me. And we did them. She had another reaction. It was really scary for me. And I was just like, yeah.
So maybe it's not you, and she's very sensitive, or like how'd you guys play that out? Like how did you try? Did you try to amend that?
Yeah. So I just explained to her. I was like, usually the reason why people have a reaction is because the adhesive that you use touches the skin, and after that, it's kind of hard to avoid a reaction. So it wasn't necessarily anything that I did at that point, because she had seen a reaction 2 or 3 times. So I think she, just was sensitive to the adhesive already. And there was kind of nothing that you can do. I feel like I've had like 2 or 3 clients in the last like 3 years or so that's happened to. So it's pretty rare, but some people are they can't get eyelashes.
Are there alternatives?
You can do strips.
Okay. But that probably doesn't look as natural.
It doesn't look as natural, and it's something that you have to do every day. And
oh, wow.
It kind of takes a while. You have to put them on, and that takes a minute, and then you have to take them off at the end of the day.
Do guys come in?
I haven't had any guys for lashes. I've had guys for brows.
For brows, though?
Brows, yeah. Brow waxing.
What do they ask? Like, what do you mean? So, because there's options with brows, too, right? So what are they asking for?
They just ask for, like, a cleanup. They'll usually get a wax.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The guys that have come in, they know what they want, so.
Okay. Yeah, we're open arms here at Rebel Lash. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, how else can we, like, how else did you put your name out there? Is there anything else besides social media, or even within social media? How are you optimizing that?
Optimizing social media.
Like, is it enough to just post pictures of lashes and brows? Like, what else how can we, when I look at your page, like, I'm just not saying your page, but like a page, how can a page grab whoever's looking at them and say, hey, stay for a while?
I think what makes me stay when I come across a page like that is great photos of great work.
Okay.
And I think that's what I focus on. Like very detailed photos where you can see everything.
Maybe before afters?
Before and afters.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of those, though. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do we stand out? How can someone stand out? Maybe testimonials? Is that a thing?
Yeah, testimonials.
Or how do we capture the experience in Rebel Ash? I guess you would need someone following you around on a day-to-day basis, but like, and put it out there,
Yes.
Like, just to give people who are watching an example of what they could experience if they walk in through the doors.
So I actually had an idea. I haven't done this yet, but I wanted to make like a collage of videos of people's responses.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when people get up, when they you know, it's their first
Ooh,
time,
yeah.
and they go look in the mirror, they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, if I could capture that like 100 times and just make like a little time lapse, you know, like of everyone and put that out there.
Do you think that's the highlight or like the sense of fulfillment?
I think so.
Yeah.
For me.
Right,
Oh
right,
yeah. For when they
right.
get up and they're like, oh my God. Because every single time, for whatever reason, I've, you know, after 3 years, I'm still like, oh my God, I hope they like their lashes.
For sure.
So when they get up and they do that, I'm like, oh my goodness, it is so, yeah, it's fulfilling.
It's fulfilling. Especially if maybe the clients didn't think it could have been possible. Is that a thing? It's like, oh, honey, I'm sorry. There's so much. I am a mess. There's so much work that needs to be done, and then you do it, and you turn it around 180, and they say, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that happens on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I had a client like that, and she's like, I have really short lashes. Like, I don't know what we can do. And I'm like, you know, don't worry. Like, go ahead. We'll do it. She gets up when we're done, looks in the mirror, and she, like, lost it. She started crying. And I was like, oh, my God.
Wow.
Like, I almost started crying.
Oh, my God.
It's like to make someone, like, to have such an impact on somebody just with eyelashes, you know?
But is it just? I'm just like, obviously it's not, right? It is, but it isn't. It's. Yeah, I think you're providing more than just that experience.
Right.
I read on the page that you do like bridal parties and things like that. Is that is that a mess sometimes, or is that as fun and fulfilling for you as it is for them? Because it's a stressful day, right? Or is it?
It is. So for me, they come here. And the appointments are so long that they usually come separately.
Okay.
I don't go do. It's a little.
You don't have enough manpower to take care of them all, yeah.
No. So just because it takes whatever 2 hours, usually they're getting a full set. And a lot of times my brides will come in a month or two before and do like a trial. So it's not very stressful for me, which is nice. I just get to see them before, and then after.
With the pictures and stuff like that. Yeah.
So
interesting.
I'm in a good spot for
that. How'd you decide on Lakeview?
Gosh, so I knew someone that was opening the bar next door. And they were like, yeah, you have to come take a look at this spot and we can be neighbors. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And I came in and I loved it. And a lot of my clients actually live up here in like Lakeview or Lincoln Park.
Before you arrived. So they would travel to Carpanzano?
No, I was in Pilsen.
You were in Pilsen too?
I was in Pilsen too.
and you didn't want to open a shop in Pilsen? Because your clients were over here.
I actually did. I looked and I found a spot. It was like right around the corner from my house, right in Halstead. And
18th?
18th and Halstead, those like art lofts. And I emailed them and I was like, yeah, I'm really interested. The rent was affordable. And the lady was like, yeah, sorry, we can't rent to like businesses like yours. And I was like,
just to art people?
Yeah, just to art people.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I didn't know that either. And so that was the first time I'd ever reached out. So I was like, it was kind of
like you had your like heart set on it?
Yeah, but it was just also like my first experience and I didn't know what to expect. And it was just, I felt like shut down kind of, so I was like, well, all right. So then I found this place, worked with the broker here and he was super nice. And so I was like, all right, let's do it.
Wow. In the future, could Rebel Lash pull in different professionals in the beauty industry? Is that kind of a dream of yours or a goal of yours down the line to collab in a way, but like in-house collab, like a one-stop shop for everything?
So that was never a dream of mine, specifically because I like to focus on one craft, and I wanted to be able to quality control and just have everyone kind of doing have limited services.
But what if who you chose were masters at their craft?
That's what I kind of thought about doing.
And maybe after, maybe not now, but I'm sure after a decade in the industry, maybe even now, like you know people that are so good at their craft, and it's like, why not collab And you probably find yourself like your clients are asking, do you know anyone that does makeup or hair or whatever? And like, and you probably refer people. What if they were all in-house?
If I could pick the best of the best, absolutely.
Yeah.
That I would do that.
I mean, it already, you don't have a hard time saying no. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you could build your dream team.
Yep.
At this point in your business, you happy?
I am happy, and it took me a while to realize that.
Okay.
It took, going through so much with the business and everything. I'm just like, you know what? I'm so grateful for what I have now and how far I've come along.
Right.
It took me a while to realize that, but.
And I want to talk about being a small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone in your family a business owner?
One of my uncles was.
Okay. But other than that, did you go to business school at all? Did you study business in school, like anything like that?
No.
No.
I did not.
From an outsider's perspective, it just seems very seamless, but I'm sure there were a lot of bumps.
Lots of bumps.
Can you share some?
So, where do I start?
I know, right? Like, is it like super technical things that like read between the lines kind of things, or like what were they?
I feel like the biggest thing with not having any background in business was the overwhelming feeling of all of the different things that go into it. Okay. So learning marketing, I did my website by myself.
Okay.
Obviously being, great at lashes, client relations, scheduling, things like that. That was very overwhelming for me. It was fun to be able to learn all that, but I think that was the hardest part. And it was just so many different things that I kind of stressed myself out because I felt like in order for my business to run at optimum level, I needed to be good at all of those things all at once. So I guess for me, the biggest thing was just setting too high expectations too soon.
Okay.
But it also helped to like kind of push me to get all that done very quickly. So
yeah. And at the end of it, to not stretch yourself too thin, what part of all that did you come to the conclusion that like, this is my bread and butter? Like, what was your bread and butter that you needed to focus on? Marketing, website design, marketing, and if I were to guess, client relations.
Yeah, it was, for me, I guess it was client relations and marketing.
Okay.
I felt like I was getting a lot of clients from Instagram for marketing.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I was like, you know what, this works for me. I'm going to focus on that, keep doing that. And then the other part was client relations and referrals. So I was getting a ton of referrals. So I'm like, you know what, let me make sure everybody that comes in, I want to make sure they're happy. I want to make sure they leave with great work. So I would take my time, make sure everyone's lashes looked awesome.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're a walking billboard for me.
Exactly.
So they, go to work and they see X amount of people, and then all those people see their lashes, and
people notice. Like people know, like, where'd you get your lashes done? Right? And they're like, Gianna.
Exactly. Yeah. I have like a monopoly right now on Lululemon of all the employees there because they literally,
really?
Yeah, I do.
Is the store close by or?
I mean,
or you
I
just like
have
one of your clients came from
all
Lululemon.
of the Lululemon stores, so they like transfer and
That's
they move
amazing.
around. So I do a ton of Lululemon girls, and so I just made sure like all of them were happy, and they would send me clients. I would do like client referral too. So if they'd send someone, I'd give them $5-10 off. We do.
Right. Interesting. What other humps did you come across?
Oh my goodness. Business wise?
Yeah. Is Chicago tough?
I don't know. I honestly, my client, like, I feel like I've been lucky with the clientele that I have. Just the regular, like, finding the location and like getting all that together and like finding the, getting the business license, like that was kind of a pain, but I've been so lucky with my clients that they have all been amazing. I'm like,
You're just lucky. It's
I'm
okay.
just lucky.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
You know, I've had like shitty clients here and there, but
Sure.
I quickly like weeded those out, and I was like, you know what, I block them or whatever, they can't come anymore. And I just was like, you know, I'm going to focus on, if I find a client that's like, you know, they're nice and.
You can block clients?
Yes.
Well, you can say no to you. What?
Yeah, I say no to everybody. You can block them on the scheduling app that I have, so they can't book anymore.
Is that a thing for barbershops too? I had no idea.
It depends on the scheduling app they use.
No
yeah.
idea.
So I saw that button and I was like, yeah, we're going to use that.
So in the scheduling thing or whatever you use to check the guests in, is there a space for you to type in little details about that guest?
There is.
Yeah.
I don't use it.
You don't use it?
I
because
don't
you, like it's all up here? Or?
I remember, yeah. So
right now, are you doing everything? Are you like running around like checking people in and then?
Yeah. So I don't really have to check people in.
Okay.
So the two girls that I have, they just started, so it hasn't gotten too crazy yet. But usually we don't check people in.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
We don't have to check anyone in. No, they just come in. If they're a new client, we do like client consultation and just kind of, you know, talk about what they want. Client consent forms. So I do that usually. And then the girls, if they have their own new client, then I'll have them do that. I feel like they need to learn how to do everything.
Do some of the administrative stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I mean, at some point you want to focus in on your craft or like where the most value comes from you. It's not up here, it's back there. I mean, and maybe in the beginning of the business stage, you have to do everything from website design, marketing, and guest relations and all that. And maybe sooner rather than later, or whenever you're ready, like you can outsource things like I need a better website. I need people to run in front of the house, whatever it is. Like, okay, I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my goal is to sort of step away slowly as much as I can. So I do try to train them to do everything. I also have clients that I'll like trade with. So I have someone that'll occasionally come in and do like a photo shoot or do some marketing or like SEO stuff. Which is nice. So it takes some of the load off of me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's how it was back in the day. Just trade services. That's all good.
Barter.
Yeah. How, if you have it already, and if you're open to sharing 5 to 10 year goals, or like a 5-year goal and then a 10-year goal.
So, I have a 5-year goal. I set my 5-year goal when I first started here. So we're coming up on a year in December.
1 year? Okay.
So now it's like my 4-year goal, but I want to be able to, I want the salon to be self-sufficient, to be able to run itself in 5 years. So I want to have 3 more lash girls, 3 brow girls, and then hopefully someone that can do like the front desk stuff, administrative stuff. And then I can be like behind the scenes and just kind of manage. That's where I want to be. I haven't decided if I want to open up a second location because I have other sort of goals that I would like to accomplish. Different passion projects, yes.
Okay.
So, but.
Do you feel like you, like right now, like I'm not on the ambulance. I miss it sometimes, right? I teach, but I miss the directness of having my own patients. I wonder if if stepping away and being like a more of a manager type, would you miss that?
I would miss that. I always tell my clients I have like a top 10 that I would keep and just do those clients because I love it. I really do. I'm so happy to have been able to find, a career that I enjoy doing every day, Yeah. So I would definitely miss it. I would keep a couple of clients. I would come in and, help out. I'm very hands-on, so I wouldn't leave altogether. Absolutely.
Right.
But.
Is it possible to do outcalls? Like I don't know what the equipment you need to do all this stuff, but like, can you wrap it up in a bag, go to someone's house, spend 3 hours there? Is that possible?
Yes, it is possible. the beds that we use, the massage tables, they collapse. You can put them in a bag. You can pack up your stuff in like a little makeup bag and take it with you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm sure you have clients that want you to come to their house because they are willing to pay that extra fee so they don't have to come out here.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather that or this?
This.
Interesting. Plot
1,000
twist.
really?
To me, at least.
Oh God, no.
That's the fun part about playing paramedic. It's just like the scenery is different everywhere I go.
All right. So I did do that for a while, and I had a couple of clients that would have me go to their houses, and they were just awful.
Now, that can't be for everyone.
It's not for everyone. I had one client that ended up coming to me. Like, I would go to her house, and then she would come to me, and she was amazing. But for me, it was just, like, packing up the table, like, carrying everything. By the time you, like, travel, depending on where they are, it just wasn't worth it for me. I don't know. I just too much work. I'm like, just everyone get in here, and I can get so many more done that way.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm sure there's a price tag though that would be worth it. Now, sorry, I just saw a bulldog without an owner. There's the owner.
There he is. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I wonder if you had any other options, like if I want to go to LA, I want to go to New York, or was Chicago like it? Because you're coming from the burbs, so it's like the world is your oyster at that point. I'm trying to make my way to the West Coast, so I'm just like, how can I get out there?
Yeah, that was my goal for a while. I wanted to go move out there. Even before I started lashes, I was like, because I was doing makeup, I'm like, there's a huge, market for anything in the beauty industry. I wanted to move to Anaheim.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I was
Disneyland or just
no, so I looked into like the best cities to live in the world, and they were like really big on fitness and health over there. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. And yeah, it's close to Disney. So I was like, that's awesome. It's kind of by LA. Like there's a lot, Yeah. So I'm like, that would be amazing. New start, whatever. Let's go. And then I met a boy. And that's how I ended up in Chicago. So
you're not like, oh, sorry, babe, business first. I gotta take care of this.
No, because I really had no plan. So It was like, well, yeah.
What if there was a guy in Anaheim and right now, and they're like, let's go. Let's. I want you to come to Anaheim.
Ooh, yeah. Let's go. I'm ready now.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. With your team, what are their goals? What do they want to do? Do they want their own shop one day?
They all say no.
And even if they did, I'm sure you would do everything in your power to support that.
I'm supportive. I feel like, I've been there. I've been an employee. I worked in a salon. I've actually worked in 3 different salons. And so I understand, everyone has their own goals, and not everyone wants to work for somebody, which is completely understandable. So if that's what they want to do.
Unless that somebody was an awesome somebody,
right.
Those are the vibes I got from Fernwood. It's like, and even the co-owners don't see themselves as co-owners. They're just a collective. They're just a big team.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to do everything that I could if I had an awesome employee, for them to stay, and, they could manage, or they could, become an educator or something. But I, to have them on my team.
What are your ways to build culture? How much time are you spending outside of work with your team?
That's tough because we just got a new team. But when I first started, I did have, my one employee that I was with, and we spent quite a bit of time together. And I think it was important for us to do that, to get to know each other so we could work well together. That's, I guess, a difficult question for me to answer because she ended up not staying.
For sure. But now you have a fresh start. So, like, if you, moving forward, it's like, how can we implement these things? Like corporate culture, throw like holiday parties and team building functions and whatnot. On a smaller scale, it can be as simple as dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't have to be something grand. But I'm not sure. I'm just trying to pick your brain on like if you are trying to do anything, or unless the amount of time you guys spend inside the shop is enough. You know, I'm wondering what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, would want to do things like dinner or like holiday, or yeah, employee parties, because I want my employees to feel appreciated.
Right.
I want them to know that, I value them and I want them to be happy here.
Yeah.
I feel like obviously a happy employee puts out better work, I think. And then we also do events and things like that, which I think is great for them, take them network,
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, I think for my employees, I want them to feel appreciated. I want them to know,
Yeah. I wonder what else we can open this space up to for other like possible like pop-up shops or collabs or anything like that, or any like So Far Sounds. I threw this at the barbers as well, but like, are you open to anything like that?
Yeah, so we actually do pop-ups here and there. So I have, I know a couple of other business owners that I'll collab with, and we'll have events here. I have like a nice open space, so we usually end up doing it here. And I partner with them, and they'll come and they'll do a service, and it's a great way to kind of cross market.
Yeah.
And we all have a pretty similar demographic.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. With your particular set of skills, if you wanted to take it somewhere, like what can come out of these particular set of skills besides owning a business? Is there anything else?
Lashes specifically?
Lashes and brows.
Lashes and brows. I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm just saying, like, in the rare instance that you're like, I want to move on. I'm not challenged anymore. I want something more, but I've been doing this for so long that I want to be able to carry some of it over and utilize it in a different way.
I think for me, it was education. That
Okay.
was such a long-term goal, was to be able to get into that. Education and product.
Okay.
So I don't know, I guess using my skill to find like the best quality products, provide those, especially for like students.
Yeah.
But education was like really big for me, to be able to like pass on what I know, everything that I've learned throughout the years. So I feel like I spent a lot of time learning and perfecting my craft.
Right.
So for me, that would be most fulfilling, to teach other people.
So are you doing that right now through maybe in person or through Instagram?
I do that. So I try to post, educational things on my Instagram, but I do offer like classes and workshops and things like that.
Okay.
For other lash artists.
Yeah. What's the most common question that mentees have of you?
Oh my gosh. They have so many questions. Most of them I feel like ask what's the best way they can gain clientele and make money. That's kind of their, yeah.
So, what's your response then?
Oh, mine is, if that's what you want to do, like, then you're not going to be good at lashes. And like, I hate that. And it's like, I understand it's obviously like you have to make a living, but that's what everyone asks. Everyone wants to know, like, how
So what's the question you want them to ask?
How can I be a better artist? I want them to want to be good at what they do.
Yeah.
I feel like take your time and perfect what you're doing, and everything else will come.
Yeah. Walk me through. So if I was a client, I don't have eyelashes. If I was a client, walk me through how you would work this. Like, I walk in, put me on your table, and like, what are we doing?
So you come in, and usually I'll ask you, what kind of service you want. If you've ever had lashes before, I'll kind of see like where you're at. If you're brand new, I'll explain to you the different types of lashes that we offer. It depends on what you're looking for. If you want something really natural, if you want something really dramatic. Oftentimes I'll ask like what kind of work setting they're in, because that will also determine, you know, if they're in a more professional setting, they don't need like.
And you're willing to give them your professional feedback. Okay.
So I'll tell them like, oh, okay, if you're a lawyer, like most of my clients that are lawyers, like get XYZ, and I'll just make suggestions based off of that. Most people don't really know what they want yet. And then when they see a picture, it looks different on them. So it's a little tricky in the beginning. But I always tell them like, start with something natural, and then you can always get more.
Okay.
Come back in, you can always add more.
Okay. And then I'm on the table. Like, let's do the natural.
So let's do the natural. So you're on the table, and then what I do is I will cleanse you. So I'll tell you, I'm just gonna cleanse you really fast. I use like a mild cleanser,
Right.
rinse with water. It's a really strange feeling. So I give you a warning before I wash your eyeballs. And then cleanse you, you know, pat them dry, and then I put eye pads on, these little gel like eye patches that go on,
Sure.
and they cover your bottom lashes
Sure.
so they're out of the way. So I'll explain that to you, and I'll ask if those feel okay and adjust them accordingly. Make sure they're not cutting into your eyeball or anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's important. So put those on, and then I just kind of start going. And then
Is there anything part of that process that's uncomfortable?
no, nothing should be uncomfortable. For the first time, I feel like the iPads can feel like weird, but they shouldn't feel uncomfortable. They shouldn't be bothering you. Like after a while, you should just sort of not feel them.
When you were first starting out, what was the most nerve-wracking part of having clients?
The inner corners.
Inner corners? Okay. Okay.
So those are really difficult for me to get done. But if you don't do them, it looks really bad.
Okay.
So
Is that the same for most
I think so.
artists? Okay.
Yeah. From what I see and from what people struggle with, just like teaching and having, you know, employees, that's
Yeah.
what they struggle with.
Right.
Inner and outer corners.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I had one more question. I can't think of it.
Was it how to get more clients?
No, because through all the guests that I've had, it's been word of mouth. No matter like how big social media is these days, your clients are, like you said earlier, walking billboards. And if you do good work, they will speak proudly and loud and proud of the work that you do, and that'll attract more clients because they're speaking to similar demographics, like the exact same demographic you're looking for. So you can try to run ads all you want and try to target these people, but it's not as convincing as someone coming from someone that they trust. So it's interesting how some people focus, you know, and marketing's important because you got to put your brand out there. But I think at the end of the day, work speaks volumes. I think it was related to like having mentees, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, well, I mean, I think I was surprised that I would have never imagined I'm doing an episode on lashes and eyebrows. Is there anything tricky about brows?
Ooh, brows. Getting brows even.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's tricky to get them even, especially when people come in and they've over-tweezed and they're missing a lot of their brows. If somebody comes in with like extremely like grown out bushy brows, that's amazing. I love that. That's super easy to work with. But when people come in and they've over-tweezed and I have to reshape them, but also like it takes time to like regrow your brows if they even grow back. Yeah. So that's tricky. And then it's like, I feel bad because I feel like I couldn't give that client what they wanted, you know.
You try to spin it in a way that like it's not I didn't do it. You know, I'm trying to work with what I got.
And I always explain to them, and that's why for me like educating my clients is so important. And I'll give them a mirror and I'll show them like, you know, this is the shape that I'm going for. this is where your brow needs to grow in. So if you fill in your brows, like fill it in this way, and then you'll have an even shape. And then they know like, oh, okay, it's because I don't have any hair there to achieve that look. So
here's the question I thought I forgot.
Okay.
What's the mistake that you've been noticing people come in with?
That they come in like from another artist. Too much adhesive. That's the biggest thing.
To where like if I was looking at you, you can see it, or?
Yeah, so it makes them look like plasticky, everyone says. Everyone uses that word. They look plasticky, and they look like just fake, I guess, really fake and clumpy and twisty. And using too much adhesive just causes so many problems.
Okay. Interesting. Another kind of deep question. We're going deep now.
Okay.
So you have 3 hours with each client. We're talking about like big life topics. What are your thoughts on, I guess, self-confidence and inner beauty and things like that, right? You're helping someone feel confident on the outside and maybe in turn helping them feel confident on the inside. But is there anything that you speak to within that 3 hours that boosts or like maybe switches their perspective on things like inner beauty and things like that?
I think not necessarily beauty, but a lot of conversations I have with my clients are about like spirituality and like dealing with stress and things like that. Energy and like who you surround yourself with and your friends. And I think, obviously they're coming in here for like physical beauty, but a lot of us talk about like it's so important for that mental health aspect to be there.
Right.
Because that feels so much
Girl,
better.
You gotta cut that out
Exactly.
of that. Okay.
Boys, like we talk, all that stuff.
Okay.
And I think that, a lot of my clients are in the fitness industry, so they look good, but it's like you can only look so good, and that only makes up so much, for not feeling good, I think.
Sure.
On the outside. So we talk a lot about, I have a lot of clients that, they do yoga or they go on these like retreats and just like meditation. And I think that's so important. I talk a lot about that.
What if this was a retreat? What if you did a yoga seminar here?
Yeah.
What if you did just a peyote circle in here or something like that?
I thought about that, doing like some kind of yoga class
like
or something.
Reiki sesh or
Yeah.
Bring in
Chakra.
an acupuncturist. Yeah.
I have a client that she does acupuncture, and I make her trade with me. I love it. Yeah, I swear by the cupping.
Interesting. There's so many possibilities for crossovers and collabs. Interesting. Do you have any questions for me, or things that you want to put out into the world? What other good vibes you want to put out there?
Oh, good vibes. I definitely think as far as running a business, it's just, like I was saying about spirituality and like energy and things like that. I think that has become so important to me, and just learning how to be happy, like in the moment, being content in the moment. I was doing some research about this, and I came across this thing called destination addiction. And I realized like that was something that I had. It was like always trying to get to the next place and never really like living in the moment. And it just becomes so stressful. And then you feel like you're never doing enough, and it's just not fulfilling at all. And I think it's so important to remember, like for myself personally, like everything that I've accomplished, there's so many things that I still want to do. And I think it's important to be ambitious and to always want to learn and grow, but not because you feel like you're not doing enough,
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of like a form of escapism in a way. We're chasing that like novelty, whereas there's a lot to be grateful for right where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge perspective shift for me as well, just choosing to be happy, like being intentional and being grateful. And you can't be like sad and grateful at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helped me like realize, you know, there's a lot of people that actually would kill to be in your spot right now. Especially when you're just like sulking and like, I'm not where I should be at this age, at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay. One step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you have any questions for me or anything like, I don't know.
Oh.
And it's okay if you don't.
I probably have a ton.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So how did you start with the podcast and come up with this idea, the name?
Yeah. So the name Consciously Curious comes in because I'm naturally curious, and like you said, you always want to keep growing and always want to continue learning. So that's where the curiosity comes in. But the conscious part comes in with having a sense of like direction and intent. A lot of people are mindlessly kind of in limbo and wandering around, not knowing what's next. And it's okay to not have a very like clear vision, or have that clear vision but understand that that's often not where you're going to end up. So having intent, so intentionally being curious about anything. And it spawned from myself not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, and the last guest, Ryan Doris, helped me see that what I was doing right now. So I don't know if you've listened to some of his episodes, but he's the powerlifter bodybuilder, and one of the most profound things that he said was that he has so many good interests and so many good passions, but weightlifting and barbells are what people pay attention to. So he realized that. He's like, okay, well, people are kind of watching what I'm doing in this space. How can I infuse my other passions into this, his truth, through the language of barbells? So you're infusing your creativity and art through lashes and brows. And that's when you realize that that's the crossroads, or that's the sense, like that's where fulfillment comes from, is realizing what you enjoy doing, what you're good at, can you make money from it, and are you giving back to the world? Like, is this your gift to the world? People find value in it. And that's the center of fulfillment, and I think you've reached that. Now, do you ever have that sense of there's something more? Is there something more?
I do. I feel like as far as what I want to do and fulfillment and other like passions, like I said, I thought about having a podcast. I think that I really want to talk about like my journey, you know, and kind of go into depth about that, and just really explain to people and let them know, like, no matter where you came from or what you started with, I feel like you can do anything you want. I really, really believe that. And this last year, and almost last 2 years, I think, has been really difficult for me personally. And obviously running a business is hard. I have a kid. And I've just overcome so many things. And I see people and they have goals and they're like, oh, I can't do it because of X, Y, Z. And they, you know, just make excuses. And I'm like, if you really want to do something, like, do it, you know? Yeah. And I think that's so important. And I just really want to encourage people and inspire them. And, you know, like I said, I talk to my clients all the time. And so a lot of them know this, and they're just like, oh my God, like, we believe in you so much. And I just get so many like words of encouragement and text messages and so much support from people. It's just like, I could cry, you know. I literally like, I love them, you know, and that's really what I live for, that I can make people feel like that, like they can do anything, you know.
Okay. Hashtag girl power.
Hashtag girl power.
Well, that's all I had, Gianna. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks
Thank
for asking me to
you.
come on. You know, I think you initiated
I did.
this. I would have never done anything like this.
Okay, yeah.
I'm glad I did, though.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad this was great. Yeah.
Thank you guys for staying tuned. Don't forget, stay curious. Habla aloha. I'll see you in the next episode.